Hello internet besties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of a controversial video. You saw the title, you know why you're here. Today we're going to be talking about 10 popular books that I probably won't be reading, and I'm gonna tell you why. I will say though, this is open-ended. I'm not 100% decided on never reading these books. If anything, I challenge you in the comments to tell me why you liked this book or why you think I should read this book, I should give it a chance, because I like to think that I'm open-minded and I will give these books a shot if you guys give me a good reason, but at this point in time, I have no interest in reading them. So without further ado, let's just jump into the controversy. The first book that we're going to be talking about is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This book went around literally everywhere. Like, I don't know who didn't read this book. This is a very popular hockey romance, and I have nothing against romance books, sports romance books, hockey romance books. In fact, I quite like them a lot of the time. However, I've heard, at least with this one, it's extremely spicy, first of all, which for me as a reader, that isn't my favorite thing in romance books. I don't necessarily mind it, but it's not what I look for, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's super spicy. And then the other thing is, and this is kind of the bigger thing that puts me off from this book, my understanding is both of our main characters lack a lot of depth. And whether it's romance, fiction, classics, nonfiction, whatever, I don't care. It needs depth. Our characters need to be so well fleshed out, so developed. And if a book doesn't have that, whether again it's the plot, the characters, particularly the characters, I'm not that interested in reading that. And so because of that, I'm not currently interested in reading Icebreaker. So yeah, that's book number one. So sorry if you love that book, but I'm just not planning on reading that anytime soon. The second book that we're talking about today is actually the next in a series, and that book is going to be Dune Book 2 by Frank Herbert. I don't actually remember what the title is for this one, but it's the second book in the Dune series. And I read book 1 of Dune and I actually really liked it, so this might surprise some people. It's this epic sci-fi fantasy world where we basically get to follow these characters in this land or on this planet where there's no water, and they have to get really creative with survival, and there's all these politics. And I did really like book 1. However, the amount of brain cells that I had to use to understand that book were so many, to the point where my enjoyment of the book did not surpass how difficult I had to work to understand this book. It's literally written in like its own language. There's an entire index at the back of the book to help you understand what's going on. And because Frank Herbert doesn't tell you what these things mean, like most other sci-fi books or fantasy books. And again, once I had read about 150 pages, maybe 200, and I felt like I knew what was going on, I knew a lot of the vocabulary, it was easier and I did enjoy it more. So there is a chance because of that I might like other books in the series more. Like theoretically, I won't have to put that much work in again, but I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it so much to the point where I would want to continue this series. But if you guys read Dune Book 2 and liked it, let me know. The next book that I do not plan on reading is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Now, before y'all come at me like crazy, okay, I have read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy that is also by Stephanie Garber. She writes really beautiful, poetic, lyrical YA fantasy books. At least that's how I would describe the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. From what I gather, the Once Upon a Broken Heart series is the series that a lot more people connect with. They tend to prefer it a lot more, while the Caraval trilogy is not everyone's favorite, and it kind of feels like a warm-up or a precursor to the Once Upon a Broken Heart series that everyone seems to really love. But beyond like the hype and people's opinions, I didn't fully connect with the YA aspect of the Once Upon. Garbage truck, love that. Love that for us. I don't really want this video to just be like, oh, everyone said that they didn't like it as much, so I didn't read it. No. The reason that I don't want to read this series in particular is because I just didn't connect with the YA elements. I feel like I prefer characters who are more mature. I feel like I prefer a plot line that's, again, a little bit more mature. And I felt like, I don't know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I liked the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Didn't love it. It's probably about a 3-star series for me, and so I'm just not really interested in going back and reading Caraval. Book number 4, I feel like I won't get as much hate for this one because I know that there's a lot of mixed reviews for this. The 4th book that I'm not currently planning on reading is Bunny by Mona Awad. This book, I feel like, can only be described as a fever dream, okay? I've read the synopsis, don't understand. I think, is this technically dark academia? I'm not really sure. But I think it's one of those books where you don't really fully know what's going on all throughout the book. And it doesn't seem like a lot of people walk away with that book making a big impact on them. Like, I prefer to really understand the point that a book is trying to get across. And so if I don't get the point, what's the point of reading it? You know, I want to either enjoy my reading experience or take something valuable away. And if you're just confused, or the plot doesn't make a lot of sense, or the characters doesn't make a lot of sense, then what's the point, you know? So yeah, I'm not currently drawn to that because I don't think there's a clear plot structure. I don't really think it makes a lot of sense. Again, I literally didn't understand the synopsis on Goodreads. So that one's not currently calling my name. Book number 5. Okay, we're back. We're back to controversial opinions. Book number 5 is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I have read one other Ali Hazelwood book. I read The Love Hypothesis and actually loved it. I thought that book was phenomenal. I loved the characters. I loved all the STEM elements. I connected with so much of that book. However, Bride has, I don't even know how to say this. Bride has something to do with the Omegaverse, and I'm not going to describe the Omegaverse to you today, okay? Partially because I don't want to, but also because I don't really get it. And that whole sphere just does not really interest me particularly. But the other thing about this book, I'm not really a big like supernatural book or supernatural romance person. I haven't really read vampire romances or werewolf books or anything of that genre, mostly because I'm not really drawn to it. I much prefer like magic systems and bigger complex fantasy worlds. I don't know, supernatural books and worlds never have, at least not in the past, drawn me in, pulled me in, so I haven't been quite called to read them. And yeah, that plus the Omegaverse, I'm not really planning on reading this one. So, book number 6 is another book in a series. As I'm saying this, maybe I should make a separate video where we talk about popular series that I'm not planning on continuing, or just like series that I don't want to finish, because that does happen to me a lot. I feel no remorse about not finishing series if I didn't like the first book or a few books into it. So that's just me. I know not everybody feels that way, but book number 6 is Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is the second book in the Rebel Blue Ranch, is that right? I think that's right, series. And it's right now, I think it's a duology, but there are more books coming out, so I don't really know. Yeah, I love cowboy aesthetic, ranch, romance, like all the things that I was told this book was going to be. Or no, I'm so sorry, the first book in the series. All of the things I was told that book was going to be are things that I'd love, okay? But when it actually came time to sit down and read it, unfortunately, I just really didn't connect with the writing particularly. It was so like simplistic to the point where I just couldn't connect with it. I feel like I need a little bit more in the writing for me to connect with a story and appreciate what's being told. I know a lot of people don't feel that way. I completely understand people loving short sentences, easy writing, short paragraphs, short chapters, because you fly through it, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting through it so quickly, and then it's heavy on the dialogue, and I really do think that's great. I just think to a certain point, I can't connect with it anymore. So yeah, because I rated the first book in the series pretty low, I just don't feel like continuing the series. But again, if you guys have read this book and you think I might like it, please let me know. These are all probably wonderful books. They're just not things that I'm feeling like reading. We are continuing to be controversial today. This is so fun. The next book that we're going to talk about is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. So I read the Cruel Prince trilogy a year and a half ago, and again, I liked it. I kind of see it similarly as the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. I enjoyed The Cruel Prince. I thought it was unique. I thought it was fun, but I didn't emotionally connect with it. Once again, I would probably rate that a 3-star series. I would still recommend it. I think it was super fun. I just didn't love it. And to invest more in this book, The Stolen Heir, which is a spin-off series based on a character within the Cruel Prince trilogy, to give a series that I felt very average about even more time and to continue reading more books in the spin-off series, it just doesn't feel like a priority, I guess is the best way to say that, compared to some of the other books on my TBR that I'm really excited about reading. And I did start this audiobook a little while ago and it just like wasn't doing it for me. So that kind of solidified that I wasn't interested in continuing this, or I guess it's not continuing the series, but reading this reading this spin-off book. Book number 8 is Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. Yes, I'm so sorry to Ali Hazelwood. There are 2 books on this list, but for real, I'm interested in reading all of her other books. Like, I want to go back and literally read them all because I loved The Love Hypothesis so much. So, no, I am not a hater. Okay, I am a hater, but like not that bad, okay? Not in Love is Ali Hazelwood's newest release, and in the author's note, it says to her fans, to her readers, that this book is unlike the rest of her books in the sense that it's more on the side of erotica romance, which is totally fine. It's just, again, kind of going off what I said at the beginning of the video, not the kind of romance that I connect with. I love spending a lot of time with our characters. I love building the tension between our love interests. I eat all that stuff up. And I find when there's like a break in that tension really early on in the book, I just don't connect with the story as much. And so I think for those reasons, I don't feel like picking up Ali Hazelwood's newest release. I'm actually feeling really controversial today. I didn't really realize how popular and well-loved a lot of these books are until I spoke them to you all. Book number 9 is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Which might be the craziest thing that I'm about to say right now, okay? So please still like my videos and my channel after this. But I am not a huge die-hard fan of The Hunger Games. I know. I'm so sorry. I read these books when I was a kid. I did. I was on the hype train and I liked the first one and then I kind of liked the second one and then I did not like the third one at all. I just didn't really connect with this series. I was a Divergent girl, okay? I was a Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, Divergent girl through and through. Did I have a Divergent themed birthday party where everyone had to come as someone in their faction? Yes, I did. But for some reason, out of all of these hyped YA series that were coming out at this time, The Hunger Games was the one that I connected to the least. And so again, I just don't feel compelled to invest more time and energy in these spin-offs or backstories of characters that I didn't resonate with the first time around. I didn't watch the new movie that came out. Not planning on continuing this. Again, I think this is also YA. I feel like you guys might notice a theme. YA needs to be done a very certain way for me to like it. I do like it sometimes. It just really depends. It really, really depends. Then the last book on this list that I do not plan on reading is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. And one thing about me, you guys might have noticed this already, I don't read a lot of thrillers, I don't read scary books, and this is not a movie channel, but I don't watch horror films. I just don't like scary things. I'm very, like, not squeamish, but skittish. And so I don't like to feel fear. I don't. And so I do read a few thrillers every year, but I'm very particular on like the themes and the plot line. Like, I am reading the back of that book before I pick it up because I need to know exactly what I'm getting myself into. The Paris Apartment, I've read the synopsis, I've heard mixed reviews, and it's just another one of these thrillers or mystery thrillers that I'm not feeling compelled to. I haven't heard people say that the plot twist is insane or it was so crazy, they loved it so much, it changed the way they think about the world. I think that might be what it is about thrillers that I'm not always drawn to, is I feel like I like books to impact me in some sort of way, and I feel that more strongly with books genres like fiction, classics, romance, fantasy vibes. Thrillers don't tend to do that to me. They just have the shock value, and if the shock value is not even there, which I have heard about this book by Lucy Foley, I'm like, I don't even want to try it, you know? All right, besties, those are 10 popular books that I do not currently plan on reading. But like I said, the door is not closed completely to any of these books. You guys are my besties, and you're gonna tell me if I've made any mistakes or if you really loved some of the books on this list. And I also just wanna say that these books are so popular and so well loved for a reason. I'm sure these authors have created beautiful, captivating books because they've grabbed the attention of so many people. Like I said, they're popular for a reason, and as an individual, as a reader, I just don't connect to either the reviews that I've heard or the plot or the characters or some element of it. That's not to say that these books aren't wonderful or could be great for you. They're just not currently catching my eye. So enough of that. Before I go, I just wanted to do a few quick shout outs to my lovely, beautiful subscribers because you guys are my favorite people and y'all have just been so freaking nice to me lately. Whoa, so sorry. First up, I want to shout out at Sarah Clark 3536, and she commented on my mid-year tag and requested that I do a video about annotation. In that video, I had like a whole bunch of books annotated, and I would love to do this video. It literally warms my heart that you guys are interested in that. So thank you so much to Sarah because I am gonna do this video. Hold me accountable. I would love to do that. So thank you so much. And then I also just wanted to shout out at Abby Branchard, something like that. So sorry, bestie. And they also commented on my mid-year tag saying that they really enjoyed watching my video, and that's just so sweet. Abby, I've seen you comment on a few of my videos lately. Literally, thank you so much. All right, I think that's gonna be it from me this week. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great reading month, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.